Hey there! Welcome to Professor Purl, a YouTube channel about knitting and other crafts. I'm Nicole and this is episode 9. Happy New Year! This is the first episode of 2022 and I feel a little out of practice and I don't know why, because I did Vlogmas, which is on my channel, and so there was a lot of filming, but this feels like I haven't done this in a while. I think my last regular episode was end of November, which actually makes me a little bit nervous about this, and I just kept kind of procrastinating doing it because we were traveling for Christmas and I just was kind of adjusting here at home, and I don't even have show notes written. I have a notebook and I normally write out what I'm going to talk about so I can be organized, so we'll see if this ends up being a bit of a hot mess or not, but so the channel, just side note, is called Professor Purl because I am a math education professor that loves to knit, and so that's sort of how that got the name. And the reason why I did Vlogmas this year was I am on sabbatical this year, which means I get a break from teaching and meetings and I get to focus on my research, and so I have more flexible time, and so I thought that this might be now or never for me to do Vlogmas, because December 22, this year of 22 coming up, I'll be teaching again, and I don't know if I will have the capacity or bandwidth to do Vlogmas because it is a lot of work. I have really mixed feelings about Vlogmas. I loved making it and I love the memories of it, and it was really fun, and I feel like I got to interact with some people in comments and things that I don't always get to, and so that was nice. And Kyle participated in Vlogmas. Kyle's my husband who also knits, and so it was really special. But I did do probably an hour of video editing every night, and so that's a lot of extra time that I could be knitting. So I don't know, I do watch Vlogmas. Well, I should say this. Last year I really didn't watch Vlogmas. This year I did, and I think it made watching Vlogmas a lot more fun having made a Vlogmas, because I got to I don't know, I just really appreciated the learning the process about how much work it is to make a vlog. So anyway, that's that about the Vlogmas. And what else? Oh, maybe I will hop into talking about what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing kind of an older cardigan from my wardrobe. It's not that old. I think I finished knitting this in 2015 or 2016. It's the Atelier. Basically, my French pronunciation is terrible, but it's a French word for workshop. And it is a fitted cardigan, it has shaping. So it has shaping that comes in at the waist, and it also has a nice little garter band on the back. In person, it feels like it is a very vibrant purple. On the screen, it's looking like a dark purple. The color is Spectrum from Madelinetosh. And so not only is it a purple, but it's almost like a rainbow. Oh, okay, this is coming out true color here. I think it's just a really cool color. And I had this color in my stash, and the base was Pashmina, which has cashmere in it. And pretty much immediately after knitting this, it started to pill, and that's because I didn't realize, and now I do, but soft yarn that's soft like cashmere is soft because the fibers are shorter, and when the fibers are shorter, that makes it like capable of pilling faster, so like it pills. And it's not bad. Like I mean, it is bad, it's all over, but it wouldn't be bad if I had one of those sweater gleaners. I just don't have one of those, so it's like actually never been like shaved or cleaned, and so it just has all the original fuzz on it. So, you know, that's a little unfortunate, but the sweater is super soft and it's cute. And I decided to wear this today because I wanted to wear this necklace, which is a necklace that my husband Kyle made me for Christmas. Oh, I just noticed this is untied. So my husband Kyle and we are into like rock hunting, like looking for rocks. And he, 1 year for Christmas, got me maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, a rock tumbler because I wanted to tumble rocks. And it's actually like a ton of work. Like you have to like scrub those rocks, and then there's like different stages of grit, and you can't put it down your sink. You need to do it outside. And I don't know, it's just like a lot of work. And so I lost like steam for it. But my husband Kyle like was finishing up my projects I hadn't, and then he got into it. So he kind of took it over. So it's kind of funny. And so this is a rock that he tumbled. It's amethyst. And then the necklace, like he bought this, like, I don't even know what all the terms are. I won't get into it, but he's got like a little pot, and he made like the jump ring and stuff, and for the class, and he's got a drill, and he drilled this. And so he kind of got into jewelry making, which I think is really fun. And so he also made my mom and mother-in-law a necklace for Christmas, which is fun. The necklaces he made for them, of course, we didn't take pictures of. I would have loved to show them to you, but I didn't. Those rocks we found, like my mom's rock we found on the coast, and so did Kyle's mom. I think Kyle's mom's rock is actually petrified wood. And this rock we purchased. I run out of ideas for Kyle's birthday and Valentine's Day, and I had bought him some rocks like to tumble, and this was it. I have 3-ish finished objects. I'll just start with the ish so you can understand why I'm saying ish. Over Christmas, Kyle, Mathilda, and I, all three of us, made a lot of I-cord. When we were visiting my mom, she had purchased one of those like machines that you crank that makes I-cord from Pyrm. And so we made I-cord, a lot of I-cord. And I was thinking this would be nice for like a garland, like on the mantle. And then this would be nice for like the Christmas tree. And it's not, it's just looking like white thread here, but in person it actually has like kind of iridescent glitter in it. So that's like really cool. So this is my ish project. Like, is this a project? Not really, but it does feel like we finished something that we have. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so my first full finished object, and I actually thought about wearing this on the podcast today, maybe I should have, is my Yule Grand sweater. I finished that on December 1st. If you watched any of my Vlogmas, you might have seen it, because I think I discussed finishing it on December 1st, and also I wore it throughout December. It's hard to see right now, but like this, in person, I feel like you can see it quite clearly, although not on the screen, but there's a tree here. And this is reverse stockinette. There's this really cool funnel collar. There's this detail here. And and the side has a fun detail too. So yeah, there's lots of fun little details. This sweater, it's fitted. It kind of tapers in. And it's cropped. Although not too cropped because I can still wear it with pants I have, although I tend to wear high-waisted pants. And I made it out of superwash yarn. I do think, I mean, I probably am not gonna make this pattern again, but I do think if I was to make it again, I would make it out of non-superwash wool because it feels kind of heavy. When I'm wearing it, it doesn't feel that way, but like now it kind of does feel like a heavier sweater. And the colorway is Judy's Mint from Les Mouton Rouge Knittery. Yeah, and this was an excellent Christmas sweater, and I finished it right at the start of December. It seems like it took me a long time to knit because I cast this on in July, but what I did is just work on it in a non-pressure free way. I had 2 Christmas sweaters this year that I finished because I finished another Christmas sweater for myself over the summer, so I had 2 Christmas sweaters, and I really enjoyed having them in my wardrobe for Christmas, so I think it would be really awesome to do that every year, is have a sweater that I make every year for Christmas. And I had intentions of sewing a skirt to go with my other Christmas sweater, but that didn't happen, so I don't know if this year I should set a goal of trying to knit another Christmas sweater or finally sewing that skirt. So first finished object of 2022 is this pair of socks. So Kyle and I both, again, if you watch Vlogmas, you would see this a little bit. We both did this self-striping like advent sock for the first time. Kyle did Sparkled Whimsy, and I did the Wool Baron. And it sounds silly, but I should have looked when I was winding the yarn. So I was doing 1 stripe a day, but I didn't finish these on the 24th or 25th because it turns out there was 31 stripes. So I think that was supposed to be that it was 1 stripe for each day in December, or there were 24 stripes if you count the stripes in between the red ones. And so I just think they look really festive and fun. This purple was a mini for my stash. I think I kept the tag. The purple was from Leading Men Fiber Art, Raspberry Parfait. And the heel also was a Leading Men Fiber Art color, and it was Flamingo Lingo. I ended up picking out this color heel because you can see there's flecks of purple and red and orange, which I thought, you know, there's red and orange and these purples at the toe. So I just thought that would kind of tie it all in. I did a true cut and heel, so I just knit a tube and then cut in the heel. And I worked on the heels actually on the airplane home from Chicago back to Portland. So I don't do true cut and heels that often. I think I've only done it twice. Well, more than that, because I was helping a friend of mine fix one of her socks, and we technically were cutting it then too. But I guess I'm saying is I'm not an expert at that, and so these did turn out a little big. Like, my foot is 9 inches long, the sock blocker is 9 inches long, and you can see there's some loose fabric here. They turned out a little bigger than I'd like. It's not bad, I'm still gonna wear them, but it's just like good for me to know for like moving forward. Also good for me to know for moving forward is if I ever buy one of these Advent skeins, I could probably buy less than what I did. So they had an option, it will Baron, when you were buying these, to buy 150-gram skein or 250-gram skeins. And I bought 2 just because I was kind of nervous, but I really only needed 1 because what I have left over in here is, you can see there's 2 skeins, and it's a full repeat of this. So I mean, I quite literally have enough to do an entire pair of these again. And since I only use the Flamingo Lingo for the heel, I even have enough Flamingo Lingo to maybe do a cuff or a toe or something. So I probably only need one more mini and I would be set. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with that. Like I have a couple ideas, like since I did Wool Baron and Kyle did Freckled Whimsy, like we could switch where I do Freckle Whimsy and then he does this. I was thinking I could do this again for a gift, or Mathilda, like she said that she wanted a pair, so like I could match her. I wouldn't do the full 31 stripes for her, but I was telling Kyle like it could be fun to like, certainly we're probably not the only people in this situation that have like a complete other set, like to find somebody to trade with. So I don't know. That's why I'm keeping it nicely in this little bag because I'm not really sure what I'm doing with it yet, but there's a whole nother pair of socks right here. Okay, so my third finished object for this podcast and my second FO of 2022 is my 5th Love Note sweater. So basically when we got home from traveling for Christmas, like I did not, surprisingly, have like the desire to cast on a bunch of new things. Like I know people do like a Christmas Eve cast on or a New Year's Day cast on, but I just wasn't feeling like doing that. I was like, I have projects I'm really liking and wanting. I need to do these. And so, or not, I wanted to do them. So when I came home, that continued, and I just sort of wanted to like get a project out of a project bag. And all I had left was like the sleeve of my 5th Love Note. And so I finished it. Oh, that's the back side. There we go. So I did a size large, so it's super boxy. And in my other Love Notes, I've done a fingering held with a mohair, and this one I switched it up and I did a commercial yarn. I got it from my friend Kelly's yarn store, Mouton Rouge Knittery. It's Rowan's Classic Alpaca. I did this light blue colorway. To be honest, I wasn't really feeling this colorway, which is why I think it took me so long to make this sweater. Because this was part of my Love Note Love Knit Along, which was cast on October 1st, finished by December 1st. And December 1st, I wasn't finished and I was like ready to do Advent things. So I took a finished object photo. I blocked it, I've worn it twice now, and it's growing on me. I do think it is like, it looks nice on me. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it that much, to be honest. Oh, if you're thinking, gosh, this looks like the Love Note, but not really, that's because I switched out the lace pattern. This lace pattern is called the pistachio stitch, and so I just switched out the lace. You know, when you knit it for the 5th time, just try to do something different. I would knit another one of these, like another Love Note. I mean, it's just such a good silhouette, and it knits up really quickly, even though it did take me like a month or so. Because I think I cast this on November 1st. Probably a month-ish of knitting. I mean, while knitting other things. And, okay, so a little story about this is I swapped out the lace pattern and I did this, like, I tried it on before I did the sleeves, and I was like, maybe I made a huge mistake switching out the lace pattern, because when I put it on, again, this was pre-blocking, this pistachio stitch was much wider than the stockinette, and it was like rippling, like there was like all this extra fabric, like the stitch gauge on the pistachio stitch was like so much more than the stitch of the stockinette, which of course, but I was thinking it wouldn't be that much more than just the regular lace in the love note. Like, of course, the lace gauge is on the love note is the stitch gauge is probably wider than stockinette, but I was just thinking it would be lace for lace, it would be fine, but it wasn't looking good. It was like rippling in the front, it was rippling in the back. I was like brainstorming ways to get rid of the extra fabric. Like it was a situation. And what's fascinating is the magic of blocking, because I blocked it and it's like that's not even an issue anymore. It's just so fascinating. And I was also not really, I might still change this. The bottom hem, I forgot to go down a needle size or two for the ribbing. And so it's just a little, it's not flary, but it's just very, well, I mean, it's a little flary. I mean, it's not bad, but ever so slightly. So anyway, I'm not loving the sweater so much. So there's like this part of me that's like, I definitely know I'll wear it around the house. I'll wear it like on a walk. I don't know if it's like, it's not my most favorite sweater that I've made. So one of the things that I really appreciate and like in other podcasts are when podcasters show like a kind of a year in review, like, oh, these are all the sweaters I've made, or these are my knitting stats. It's sometimes really impressive, the things that people can do, and it's also inspirational, like, oh, I would like to knit more socks, or I would like to knit more sweaters, you know, like. But what's kind of ironic for me is I'm so good at like record keeping some things. Like as a professor, I actually, since 2015, have kept a writing log that every time I write, I do like the beginning word count, end word count on a certain project, and then time it and write my feelings. I have this Excel spreadsheet that I keep, and I'm so dedicated to that, and I'm very good about tracking things in my planner. But when it comes to like keeping track of my knitting projects on Ravelry or Instagram, it's a bit of a fail for me. I have entire sweaters I've knit that are not in Ravelry or on Instagram. I think this one is on Ravelry, but I'm not the best at that. So that brings me to share that I'm not a big resolution person, but I did want to share my like knitting intentions. So in 2022, one of my intentions is to be a good record keeper. Maybe I'm not going to put tons of notes on Ravelry because that's just not who I am, but I will like post my project and like what yarn I used on Ravelry, and I will also make an Instagram post, and in that sense it's sort of like a way to capture like the things that I'm making, because right now, like when I have to say like what did I make in 2021, I feel like I can give an approximation, but then I'm like thinking of things. For example, I was like, oh yeah, I knit 6 adult sweaters, and I think I knit Mathilda a sweater, but then I remembered I actually knit Mathilda 2 sweaters and also a matching sweater with her doll. Like I like literally like forgot some things I made. So I know I made 6 adult sweaters. I know I made 2 children's sweaters. I know I made at least 2 shawls. I know I made socks, but I don't have like good numbers or details. So I'm going to improve that for this year. And so one way I decided to do that is I have so many notebooks, and I'm good about tracking things when I'm using a notebook. So I decided to start a knitting notebook. And so this is a notebook that I got when I was this fall in Austin, Texas. I visited the Erin Condren store, and the front of this cover of this notebook says the best time for new beginnings is now. And I think that's nice, because I think sometimes we think like, okay, New Year's is our like fresh start, and I think that's why there's this thing like resolutions and things, but really anytime we decide to do something or start something, like that's a fresh start. And so I really like that saying. And But I ended up purchasing this notebook because the pages are pink. And so when I purchased it, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I obviously wanted to do something special with it because it has pink pages. And so I decided to start a knitting notebook. And what's funny is I didn't tell Kyle I was going to do that. And he and I were talking about knitting, and he was like, you should keep track of your knitting the way you do your books, because I have a book like this for books that I read. And I was like, it's so interesting you suggested that, because I actually do plan on doing that. So I thought I'd just show you a little bit what I'm planning on doing. So this is my first page. I left this page blank because I was thinking I might do a little introduction or something. And this is like a picture. I, for years, have used the HP Sprocket, which is like a little tiny printer. And there's an app that you put on your phone, and you can just print pictures from your phone. But the paper is a sticker. And I've used it for years. I do paper planning in my Erin Condren planner, and I decorate each week, and I just really enjoy it. And usually in my Christmas stocking from Kyle, he gives me like a ton of paper because I print off a ton. And even when I write like thank you cards and things like this for Mathilda, I'll put little pictures of her in there. Anyway, so I really enjoy that. And this is the tag from the yarn. I thought it was really cute. And then I wrote about my love note, my 5th love note. And I started a page for my berets. So as part of this channel, we have the books in berets Makealong. And so I put this here, and I'm hoping the next page will be a beret. So yeah, so that's my main intention in terms of knitting for 2022 is to keep track. I find the most joy out of garment making, like sweaters. And this year, like totally like influenced by the Crazy Sock Lady and Summer Sock Camp, I definitely made a lot more socks than I normally do, which I think it was like, I made at least 4 full pairs and then several single socks because that's who I am. But that's like, and I know that's not a lot of sock knitting compared to what other people do, but for me that's a lot of sock knitting, and it's great and I've really enjoyed it. But my main joy is like sweater making, and so I want to like focus more of my energy on that. And so after I finished these, I did not cast on a new pair of socks, and I haven't been working on socks. And it's not that I'm going to quit sock knitting. I just, as part of my intentions, just want to focus more on garment making. All right, for the next section of the podcast, I thought I would show handmade gifts that I received. But I already talked about the necklace that Kyle made, so I guess this section is handmade gifts for my mom. And I have 4 of them to show. So the first one I'll show is a hat that my mom made for Mathilda. The pattern is the Rusco Beanie from Any Hootie Knits, which I had actually tested. And my mom did tell me what the yarn was, and I don't remember, but it's really soft and it's white, and so it will go with a lot of things. And this pom-pom is from the Grocery Girls, and it has this kind of foam circle with these ties underneath here. So basically what's really cool about that is if you need to wash the hat, you can take the pom-pom off, or when she outgrows the hat, you can take the pom-pom off and reuse it. So that's pretty cool. She got a new winter jacket because she's growing so much, and so this matches that, so that was really nice. She wore this a ton when she was in Illinois because there was so much snow. It was so cold, And since getting back here, she has not worn it because where we live, it is really not that cold. If there's any Pacific Northwesters watching this, they're probably like, what? It's so cold. But you know, like we were playing in the snow in Illinois and it was like 0 degrees Fahrenheit or like -2 degrees Fahrenheit, like some of the days we were playing in the snow. And then you come back to Oregon and it's like, you know, 45 degrees Fahrenheit, 53 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like a 50-degree difference. So it feels warm to me, even though I know that people think it's cold. So anyway, Tilda's the same way. I keep asking her to put on her like new winter jacket and she's like, no, she wants her kind of lighter winter jacket. So I feel like she has a Midwest heart. The other gift that my mom made was this pair of socks for my husband. It's just a vanilla sock pattern. I'm not for sure, but I think my mom used my vanilla sock pattern. It's not on Ravelry or anything like that, but I wrote up a vanilla sock pattern that I like, and I have it for various sizes, and I used it to teach some of my friends how to knit socks, and I've shared it with some friends, and so I think my mom used it. And really, I think what the thing is for me, I mean, there's so many vanilla sock patterns and recipes, but I like a sock heel that is like kind of more square like this. There's so many different ways to do heels. Like the socks I'm wearing now, I don't know if I want to take them off because I've been wearing them for 3 days in a row, but the heel is like this, but I use somebody else's pattern and it like comes to more of a triangle, and I'm sure these have more formalized names, but I just don't know them. So anyway, so those are for Kyle. He has really thin legs, so these are a little bit big around his legs. So I think his intention for these is just to wear them like slippers because they slouch a little bit, and then Alpaca's like a little soft. Okay, the next 2 handmade gifts are for me. Show this. There's 2 of them. Maybe I'll hold it up to the screen more. These are the Coffee Talk socks from J.C. Miller of the Grocery Girls, and my mom made these. Like, she took these little light bulb stitch markers and put little charms on them, and so it was wrapped really cute because it was folded and that was kind of on the top. And the colorway is a color that is dyed by my friend Kelly. She dyes yarn. She's a yarn store, Mouton visionary, and she also dyes yarn. And this, I think, was either in August or September color of the month, and this was composition book. I actually don't remember the name of it, but it's a nod to like a number 2 pencil. So this is the eraser color, and then you can see the yellow and composition paper, which is blue and white. So sock camp happened, and when Kay from the Crazy Sock Lady like re-energized my spirit for sock knitting, I think I went a little crazy buying sock yarn. So when Kelly dyed this up, I was like to the point where I was realizing that I couldn't keep up with my sock knitting with this, like the input of sock yarn and the output of socks. And so I didn't purchase this colorway, and so I was really happy to get this as a pair of socks for myself, for my mom. So, and these fit me really great. And the last thing my mom gave me, I actually thought was supposed to be a present for Mathilda, but it turned out it was a present for me. And it is a crochet blanket. And I don't know enough about crochet to be able to say what kind of stitches these are, but it's very 3-dimensional. Yeah, just put that there. Yeah, and it's really lightweight, even though it is a big blanket, and it's warm, even though it's really lightweight. And so, yeah, I really like it. Pink is my favorite color, but also yellow. And so pink and yellow together is super fun. And I haven't really decided where I want to kind of store this or keep this. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll put it in my bedroom. Other times like maybe I'll put it across one of the couches that are over there, but I don't know yet. So those are some finished objects. 3 from me and 4 from my mom. All right, next I'm going to hop into whips, works in progress. So I would say I have 2 active whips right now, but I've had 3 active whips since you've last seen me on the last episode. So I'll show a whip that has not gotten a lot of love, but I did work on it since last time I saw you. So if you watch Vlogmas, you would know that I basically wanted to knit my mom a sweater and I procrastinated, which is unfortunate when she, you know, made so many handmade things for us. But I was like overconfident about my knitting. Like I was like, I can knit a sweater in a week, and I can, but I can't knit a sweater in a week when I am like taking care of a preschooler, packing for a cross-country trip. Like we were literally flying, you know, 2,000 miles with all these Christmas presents and things. Like it required a lot of energy to pack, and not even just energy for packing, but like energy for Christmas to be ready when we got back home. And yeah, so all that to say is if I didn't have that, I probably could have knit this in a week, but here's the progress I did make in a week. So I got the yoke of a sweater done for my mom, and I think it looks majestic. So I have knit 2 Soldana sweaters. One I knit for me in a size medium and bright colors, and then I knit a second one in a size large in Christmas colors. And so I'm knitting my mom one, and I'm knitting it in the same base yarn that I knit my Christmas one in. I just take that in. It looks so good. I'm obsessed. So let's pull out all the colors. And when I knit my Christmas one out of the same yarn, it's Lehman Fiber Art DK, I loved it. It's a very plump, squishy base. It is super wash, super soft, super plump, springy. I really loved it. And so I'm equally loving this. And the colors. Okay. I think the black is called Darkest Hour. This is a color called Sugar Plum Fairy. And this is a color called Starlit, and this is a color called Windchill. And I got this much done in a week. Basically, I just need to start working on it again. I really lost steam on it. I'm to the point where I'm in the body and you do these, I don't know if those are called fleece stitches or what they're called, but I know that people who have modified it have sometimes left that out because then it goes quicker, but I really like the look of it, and so I will do it the entire way down. And I think on mine, and I have a cropped length, I would say like a medium cropped length, like it's not super cropped, but it's not like a long sweater. I think I did either like 8 or 9 of these. What I mean is like 2 rows of these is one repeat, so I did 8 or 9. So I think my plan is to, as I do this, just like hold it up to mine and make it the same length as mine, because mine's a really good length. So I will finish that for my mom someday. Okay, this is the work in progress that has gotten a lot of love before I left for Christmas, before we went to Illinois. And when I was in Illinois, I packed it with me, but I didn't work on it at all. I worked on the sweater for my mom, and it was not necessarily a good travel project, so I lost some steam on it. But right before Christmas, I got a lot done on it, and it has brought me nothing but pure joy. And that is my Radvent, which is a cardigan by Amba O'Brien, who she's got lots of designs, and in all of her designs she also has a subset of designs that are for Advent knitting, and each year she gives them like a fun name. And I think a year or 2 years ago she made some designs that were called Radvent, which I like the word rad in there. Okay, and I got a Stretch Knits yarn advent this year. So what I finished before I left on Christmas vacation was half of the sweater. So you start at one sleeve and you go all the way to the middle, and then you knit another. This is the right side, now I'm knitting the left side, and then you will, I think, 3 needle bind off it together and then pick up for the band and stuff. So this is my half, and it looks so good. I love it. I really like the Stretch Knits Advent too, and it just is so cool that it's like highlighted like this. I love it. So that's half of it, and I have started the other side. I mean, it's just baby. I just knit ribbing so slow. Like, I can't even tell you how slow of a ribbing knitter I am. Like, I will feel like I'm working on it for hours and hours, and actually by time it probably is, and then I make, but it doesn't have to be fast because this is slow fashion. This is knitting for enjoyment, so it's okay that I'm a slow knitter. So one of my concerns about kind of taking a break from this is that I forget the color names of the mini skeins. And so when I got back from Christmas, I sat down, I organized my mini skeins, put a post-it with the name of the colorway in it, and then put each one in a baggie. I know that's not super good for the environment using all those plastic bags, but I'll reuse them. I have really just enjoyed sort of the process of this. Like, even like I laminated colorways from the Stretch Knits Advent, so that would stay nice and I could see it. And the Radvent cardigan, like, a lot of people have made it. I found the written instructions to be challenging to read, and so I used the written instructions in tandem with a chart. I won't show all the chart because it's a paper pattern, but I'll show part of it. So there's this chart, and like this, and so I laminated it, and what I did is I put in the colorways. I used like a wet erase marker and I wrote in the colorways. And so for I half that I finished, what I would do is when I would get done with it, I would check off the pieces. And so I used the chart more than the written pattern. We really needed the written pattern for when there was changes in the sweater. Like for instance, you're just increasing, but then you get here and you need to like basically you transition to knitting flat. And so there's transitions is what I'm trying to say. And I was able to figure it out, but it wasn't very intuitive for me. So initially when I started this in early December, I was chatting with Maddie from the We Share Needles podcast. She also got a Stress Knits calendar, and so we started it. So it was really helpful to have her to chat with too about this. And then partway through it, Kristen, she joined in and she started making rad band, and then they inspired a lot of people to start rad bands. So there's quite a few people out there making rad bands now. So that's really fun. And it is a really fun pattern. I'm very curious how it will fit me. I spent a lot of time trying to decide on the right size for me, because a lot of times when you decide on a sweater pattern, you're measuring your bust and this and that to figure out, your arm width, to find the right fit. And for this, it's a cardigan that buttons lower. And so it's based on your waist measurement. And I really struggled with that because I didn't want it so that when I button it, the buttons would be pulled at all. I don't like that on myself. And so I really struggle with picking a size. And so I have 2 sizes highlighted. And I went with the larger size, and my thought being, I just know that I would prefer a more oversized garment than one that was too tight. So I would like to eventually maybe make another rad band if it fits me well, is what I'm trying to say. Is I've enjoyed it so much that I wouldn't mind making another rad band, but I just want to see how this one turns out first. So there is the Books and Berets Makealong going on right now. The cast on party was January 9th. I am knitting the Jacqueline Beret from Clinton Hill Cashmere. I had the honor of interviewing Rebecca from Clinton Hill Cashmere, where she shares the story, the inspiration behind the Jacqueline Beret, and I will link that interview below. And so it's been a privilege to knit this and think about Rebecca's grandmother. So this is the beret, and it's a kit, and it's my first time knitting with Clinton Hill Cashmere, and it is absolutely incredible. It's I've knit with soft yarn. I have knit with a lot of really good soft yarn, but what's interesting about this soft yarn is it's soft, but it feels really durable. And I was reading about cashmere online, and it says that cashmere is actually a fragile fiber, at least what I was reading, but this feels very durable. It feels substantial. And so it's just really interesting that something so soft feels so substantial. It's very plump. It's delicious would be a good adjective I would use for it. And this is my first time, and I know it won't be my last because it's been really cool to knit with. And the other thing is a lot of fuzzy yarn that is soft, like mohair or alpaca, sheds a little bit, which I don't mind because I love knitting and I love fiber and I love the soft, so it doesn't bother me. But it is really cool that this doesn't seem to shed at all, so that's kind of neat. And I think a deficit, at least based on this, this is not Clinton Hill Cashmere, this is just a sweater that has cashmere in it, as this was pilling a lot for me, so it has made me kind of nervous about knitting a cashmere sweater, but I'm sure, let me know if you've knit a cashmere sweater. Let me know below. Does it pill? So right now I'm really into the idea of like knitting cashmere accessories. And so yeah, a beret is a really good entryway in terms of like price point and stuff. So anyway, I do think this kit was donated by Clinton Hill, which is very kind. And she has also donated a kit for a prize, a beret kit for a prize, which I think is so generous. But I'm thinking I might actually buy another beret kit because I'm really enjoying how soft this is. I got a little nervous about how small this was looking. So somebody commented in the Books and Berets thread on Ravelry, like, mine turned out kind of small. And then they edited it to say that they contacted Clinton Hill and it is designed to turn out a little bit small because apparently when you wet block cashmere, it does grow. And also I guess cashmere just grows over time. And so it might turn out initially like a little smaller than you'd like, but I guess it's gonna grow. So I'm really interested to see how that turns out because my beret is indeed looking a little small on the needles. It's hard to tell when it's black right now on here. It's like hard to see the stitches. I did pick the onyx colorway because I was thinking like, you know, this is such a like classic piece. I was thinking it would be really nice to have something that would go with a lot. And so I thought, what better than onyx? It would go with so much. But now I'm thinking I need another one either in camel or a really bright color, like like a fluorescent. So I have a lot of beret dreams. I won't go into them on this episode to make this any longer than it probably already will. But if you are interested in hearing about my beret dreams, because I have a lot of them and a lot of beret patterns I'm interested in, I do share that on the Books and Berets knit along, which I will also link below. So just sidebar, I do make detailed pattern or detail like notes about this, like where everything I mention is linked. And so if you click the description box below, you'll see a big kind of list of the show notes. I bet you'll be able to find some of this stuff there. So speaking of whips, I will say this. If you asked me, do you have a lot of whips right now? I would have said like a month ago, no, not really. And you know, I only showed you 3 here. So I mean, it's not that many whips, right? So when I got home from Christmas, I decided, I was kind of in this organizational mood. I decided to write out all my works in progress. And I went through the project bags and I was like getting organized. And that is when I discovered I had 18 works in progress. 18. I'm not going to read all 18 to you or show you all 18, but I have 18. And I was like, do single socks count as a whip? If single socks are not considered a whip, like, because they're a half-finished object. So if I remove those, I still have 12 whips. And I think it's just so funny that I thought I didn't have hardly any, and I have like 12 to 18. So I think that was sort of the impetus for me finishing these 2 items, is they were on the needles and I knew that they were achievable to get done. And I was like, it'll just feel good to cross them off. So I wrote those 18 things down, and as 22 goes by, I will just cross them off if I finish them. And maybe I won't, maybe I'll tear some out. We'll see. So for 2022, I thought I would try out a new segment in the podcast called like, I don't know, Professor's Corner or Professor's Thoughts, just something where I show like, or I discuss like a connection from my kind of professorial life and my knitting life, because sometimes they blend. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. And one of the things that I really care deeply about is that my students have a positive relationship with mathematics. I think that a lot of people have had negative experiences with math. And I think that because I work with future teachers, that if they don't redefine that relationship with math and come to having a more positive relationship with math, they can carry that into their classrooms and to their students. And so when we think about negative relationships with math, like oftentimes that's centered on like being wrong or making mistakes. And so for me, this idea that like mistake making is normalized and mistake making has like asset-based views is like really important to me. And we will make mistakes in math. We'll make mistakes in knitting. We'll make mistakes in life. And I think valuing those mistakes and learning from those mistakes is like a beautiful thing, a powerful thing. And so recently, Anna from the Bluebird Box, she started a podcast, which has exploded because she's amazing. And she's a designer, Canadian designer that lives this like beautiful, snowy, dreamy life on a, like, I don't know if it's a farm, but it's like out in the country, and it's just, she's got pictures of snow, and it's just, and sheep and kids, and it's dreamy. And in her 2 episodes that she has, in both episodes you hear her kind of talking about mistakes that she's made, but she does it in a way that's like expert level, like where, you know, she's not having a deficit mindset about these mistakes, but she shares them and talks about how that facilitated a design, like the Tennessee shawl, or, you know, something she learned from it that she'll change in the future. And that really highlighted to me like a connection between my like knitting world and my math world. So in math, like mathematicians make mistakes all the time. Little known fact. And I mean, there's some problems that have never been solved. There's people that are making mistakes over and over until they can finally solve a problem. It's very normal to make mistakes in math. And the question is like, what do you do with that mistake? And it's almost like we shouldn't call it a mistake. It's like this thing we do that didn't work out, and then we revise it. And so I think that's how knitting is. Like, there's things that maybe we do that we're like, I don't want to do that again. And so we learn and we grow from it. And so I thought I would show a mistake that I made. So for my 30th birthday, which was 8 years ago now, my mom and my dad was still alive then, gave me yarn for my 30th birthday, a sweater's quantity, because that's, you know, obviously the perfect gift for me. And it was in a colorway called Molly Ringwald from, or just maybe Molly, or maybe it was Sweet 16. I don't know, it was something, actually I don't even know what the color was, but it was some kind of nod towards Molly Ringwald or Sweet 16, and which is a movie I really like, and this pink is amazing. And I actually don't remember the name of the sweater. I should look it up and put it here, but it is a sweater to this day that I wear a lot. I'll try and see if you'll see the glaring mistake in it. Do you see the mistake? This is like the first sweater I made out of indie dyed yarn. And you'll see I did not know about alternating skeins. And I didn't even notice it really when I was knitting, because I was knitting like in the dark in the evening, watching TV. And then when the sweater was done, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't unsee this. And so I had a couple ideas about it. One was I could tear it out, but the sweater is actually reversible, so like I can wear it. I could wear it so that this is the front, so you don't even know. It's a very boxy sweater. But I tend to wear it with this stripe right in front. What's interesting is nobody really says anything. Like, I've worn it teaching so many times, and people usually just compliment me on it. They don't really say anything. It sort of like, in a way, looks intentional because of where it's at. And, you know, you may be looking at this thinking you don't like it and you would never wear this, but I wear it. But I learned something from it, which is I should alternate skeins. And I grew from it. Like, I even have a tutorial I've made called the Easy Alternator, which is linked below here. And it's a way to alternate your skeins, like helical knitting, because every other row is a different yarn, but different from like what people typically refer to on helical knitting, and that you're not changing your beginning of a round. Your beginning of a round stays the same. So anyway, check that out if you want. If not, it's cool too. But I did want to just share like a mistake, and I have an asset-based view about, I guess. And I think that's important in knitting, math, life. Okay. Surprise, I'm back for a Sip Sip Knit segment, and I have a turd with me. My tea's really hot. I'm drinking it in my new David's tea mug. Kyle has a matching one, but he's not drinking it right now. I have candy cane crush tea.
It's kind of in the Sip Sip Knit and not prepared.
Mm-hmm. Surprise. I asked Kyle to talk about Oreo balls. Got one right here to go with my tea. What did you say to me when I asked you to talk about Oreo balls?
So I didn't really want to talk about Oreo balls.
He did say that, and he also said something like, it's not sip, sit, eat.
That's right. Sip, sip.
Here.
Sip, sip section.
Here's why Sip Sip Knit involves Oreo balls. Is that I love a hot drink with an Oreo ball. Like coffee and Oreo ball, tea and Oreo ball. And then what's really magical is when I have my tea, my Oreo ball, and I'm knitting after I mean, I don't do it at the same time. So.
You like any sort of sweet scrumptious snack with your hot drinks.
Yes. And so that's why it's part of the Sip Sip Knit. But now that you point out that it's eating, not knitting, I see your logic. But when he sat down, he's like, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that and that, like pointing at some knitting. So he's not talking about any of this. And he said, I have exactly 2 minutes. Hey, Siri, set timer for 2 minutes.
I think you've already expired in 2 minutes, according to your camera.
All right. The reason why I want Kyle is here is he's the chef of the house. And look, Siri's confused. She says, still working.
I wouldn't exactly say that an Oreo ball requires a chef's skills.
The people want to know about the Oreo ball, Kyle. Like, here's the other thing is I said, we just explained to everybody how to make the Oreo ball. They'll love it. And Kyle was like, just kind of curmudgeon about it. Like this, like.
Mathilda helped out, to be clear. Got a little messy, but she helped out. That's the culinary skills required for an Oreo ball.
You're being real sassy right now. Okay, take off the sass and just tell about the Oreo ball.
The Oreo balls are pretty simple. You got any kind of Oreo you want, and a package of cream cheese. You smash up the Oreos in either a food processor or manually, and then combine the two, being the cream cheese and the Oreos. Chill them for like a half hour, and then shape into a ball. Chill again for a half hour, and then dip in any sort of melting chocolate that you'd like, either a white chocolate or a milk chocolate or dark chocolate, I suppose. And then voila, you have Oreo balls.
The best thing I've ever ate. Like, they're so good.
I beg to differ.
Why are you eating the Oreo balls if you don't like them?
I like them. It's just not the best thing I've ever eaten.
Okay, maybe it's not the best thing I've ever eaten, but like it's
like a macaroon.
Okay.
Macaroon's better.
Okay, true. Okay, they're pretty great though. A funny story is my friend Kim made Oreo balls, and she did like a white chocolate on the outside, and Mathilda was like having this meltdown, like, you know, like a preschooler does sometimes, and she was like crying and saying she wanted white rolls, right? White balls, white rolls. And like Kyle and I were like, what? And then we realized when she said white, well, first she was asking for white rolls. And then when she said white balls, we were like, Oreo balls. So I think Mathilda and I feel the same about the Oreo balls. We love them. She doesn't drink hers with a hot drink. She just eats them. But anyway, thought you'd enjoy that, and I'll stop recording because Kyle doesn't want to be a part of this anymore.
Time has expired.
Time has expired. Well, thanks for being part of the segment, Kyle.
Welcome. Bye.
Want to share a little bit about what's coming out on this channel this month. So later this month, I will have an interview from Wall of Yarn, which is in Freeport, Illinois. It's a yarn store, and I got some acquisitions there, but I showed that at the end of that video. I won't show that today to make this any longer. And it is a yarn that specializes in like Scandinavian style, like color work, rustic yarns. So yeah, so I'll have that interview coming out soon. And I will also have a interview from Kelly from Mouton Rouge Knittery, which is in, I think, Bloomington, Illinois. I always get confused if her store is in Bloomington or Normal, but I think it's in Bloomington, Illinois. And yeah, so that will be coming up. And so Kelly donated a prize for the podcast, which I will share. And well, she donated this to me, which are more pearl strings. That's what she calls them. I think there's other companies that have something similar, but it's a way for you to put sleeves on holders so that you can try your, or you know, put your body on. This is the shorty set. And so there's like two 18-inch, 224 and 230-inch cords. And so these would be really good for sleeves. And I've actually started using them just to hold, like I have a longer one here. And so basically you put this on the end of your needle and you can just pull your needle through, and they're really convenient. So she gave me this one that's kind of pinks, turquoise, and purples. And then so that she would donate one for the podcast. So this is my giveaway for today. Which are these bright ones I have. Kind of this bright green, orange, yellow, and pink. So the question for you is, what are your knitting intentions or goals for 2022? I'd love to know. You know, I've shared that mine is to record my knitting and to focus more on joy, like garment making. So I'd love to know what yours are. And so now I'll hop into the acquisitions. Okay. Trying to decide. Okay, the first acquisition is something that was mailed to me from Yarnia. They have a podcast as well here on YouTube. I'll link them below. And they did, from June 1st to December 1st, a sock bingo. And so they have these cards that you could download, and I color them in. And anybody who finished a bingo card, they mailed a progress keeper to, which I think is so sweet. So I should make more socks, I guess, so I can use this. And this came in the mail, like we were on our way to the airport and we stopped to check our mail, and this was in there. I feel like when it's December, I shouldn't buy anything for myself because there's gifts that are given, and you know, there's just a lot of input in the home that are gifts, and I don't need to be buying gifts for myself, but sometimes I can't help myself, and that's what this is. I made a purchase from Chelsea Yarns. This is Chelsea Luxe. This is a DK and then a mohair. And I really need more hats, which is great that I'm making a beret right now, because I actually need more hats in my wardrobe. I have not knit a hat for myself in a really long time. I do have hand knit hats, but like they're getting worn, like because I wear them and haven't made new ones in a while. And so there's this pattern, I think it's called like IROC. And it's like a stocking hat that is ribbed with a folded brim that has like pearls and jewels on it, which I think is so cute. So this was a kit where you hold these together, and then these are pearls in here. You hear them. I don't know. You can see those. There's a bunch of them in here. And so that's my plan, is to make this. And I'd like to do this soon, but I'm really in kind of my beret Joe right now. But I mean, clearly this is my color. So yeah, I'm loving this. The way it was packaged was just incredible. I think I showed packaging in my Vlogmas. I don't even remember what day, but it was just incredible when it arrived. Like, just very cute, like kind of confetti, paper confetti kind of situation inside. Like, it was really good. Okay. So many things. Okay. So I got my mom a needle felting kit for Christmas, and she also got me one too. So I thought that was really fun. I got her a penguin and she got me a dog. And so it's not knitting, but I will love to do that. Last year, my mom got me the 12 Days of Madelinetosh Advent, and I have shown that on the podcast here. It was Madelinetosh Light, and this year she got me this year's 12 Days of Madelinetosh. And it does come with a pattern. I haven't even looked to see what that looks like. This is the packaging. It's super cute. Oops, there's the one. And it is DK, which is fun. At first I was like, oh, I'll just combine it with last year's, make a big project. But then I opened up and I realized it was DK. So, yeah. Because I opened it up and I was like, this feels thicker. And then I looked and I realized it was DK yarn. This colorway is called Geyser Pool. And then it says you can download your patterns here, and it gives you like a link inside. So I still need to go do that. I don't know if I will do those patterns or not, but part of me feels like I should, because it's designed to go with this, so you'll get something that does it. But the other part of me loves the idea of like trying to explore and find something to make with it. Okay, so many things here. My mom got me the issue of Vogue that has Michelle Obama on the cover, and I was really excited about this because I had a hard time getting it out here. I was going to bookstore looking for it, and I couldn't find it. So yeah, I was really excited to have that, and she gave it to me as soon as I got home, and so I was able to like sit around, knit, read the interview, look at some of the other patterns in here. It's just, yeah, it's a really good one. And my mom got me this book and then some yarn to make a project that's in this book. Now, if you didn't see the title, it said Knitting with Disney. I feel like there's quite a few patterns in here I really like, but I wanted to show you ones that I really, really liked. I have made quite a few knitted toys in my lifetime with these. Oh my goodness, I can't even. I love Gus from Cinderella. He's so cute. I like have to make him. Like, it's a have to. The two other patterns that I really, really like in here, I do think would be challenging to make because of like buying the right amount of yarn. So I really, really, really like these 3 fairies socks and mittens or mitts. Basically, Mathilda's a huge Sleeping Beauty fan. Like, she loves Sleeping Beauty and she really likes the fairies in Sleeping Beauty. Like, she knows their names. Like, I now know their names, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, because of Mathilda. Like, I didn't know what they were until her. And so, yeah, they make me think of Mathilda. But that's a lot of different yarn colors you'd have to buy to like make that happen. And so I do think that's a challenge for that project. Okay. I'm also really into this colorwork sweater. It is a Beauty and the Beast themed colorwork sweater, and I love it so much. I, again, think it's a similar challenge to the ones I just showed you, where like that's a lot of colors to buy. But I just think it's so good. It's so, yeah, there's a lot of really awesome patterns in here, but those are my favorite that like speak to me. So also, my mom got me this self-striping yarn kit, which is from the Cozy Knitter, and it's the Grocery Girls edition. And I love the Grocery Girls, and my mom does too. And so I think she really enjoyed their online shop this winter. Some toes and cuffs. It is like speckled. What? So that's so good. Speaking of the Grocery Girls, my mom got me this pin from them, which is cute with the Christmas tree. A little Grocery Girls ornament. I think she also got this from the Grocery Girls. It's like a little notions pouch. You can like put little things in. I am a big Ruth Bader Ginsburg fan. When Mathilda was like, I think she was like 1, maybe 2. How can I lose so track of time? She was 2. Well, I know what it was. She turns 2 end of November, and Halloween is like a month before her birthday. So she was like nearly 2, but she was still 1-ish. I dressed her up as a mini RBG. If I can find a picture, I will put it in here. And so my friends and my mom, like, they tend to get me a lot of Ruth Bader Ginsburg things. And so my mom got me this, was it needle gauge? And so on this side, it's got one of her iconic collar, and then the sizes, and on this side, it has a quote from Ruth. And along that lines, we got these very cute stitch markers, like that's got Ruth on there. This one says, "Fight for the things you care about." And then her very like iconic descent. So those are really fun. And I have not used this yet because I've been waiting because I want to show it on the podcast so it was like nice and fresh. My mom got me a pleisture bag from Wild Hand, and they have different kinds of styles, like a book bag, whatever. This one's like crossbody, like you could use it like a purse, which is actually how I think I'm going to use it. It's more like a purse, but it is a project bag, and I'll show you the inside. It actually comes with like a little like project bag inside of it. which is pretty cool. I really want to put like a pin on it, but it's so nice that I'm like kind of scared to like poke a hole in it. So that's sort of the challenge with that. Anyway, I think I'll stop there with the acquisitions, because I think it can be overwhelming to show like all the new things, but I'm really excited for this because I think it will serve as a nice little project bag slash mom purse situation. So normally I end the podcast with talking about a personal section, and I'm just not going to do that today. I just think that the podcast turned out really long, and also there is like Vlogmas if you want to see some personal life stuff. Just before I end, the teacher and me, I like to do a couple friendly reminders. One is there's a giveaway, the mini and pearl strings. I'd love to know what your 2022 knitting intentions are, like things that you're hoping to do this year. And the last thing is there is the Books and Berets Makealong. So any beret, knit or crochet, any pattern, any book. And the thought is just to be making a beret and reading, which I think is such a nice January thing to do. And there will be a Zoom session in February about this. And also, there is a bookmark, which I will link below if you're interested in that. Oh, I do think there's one kind of personal thing, is if you're watching this and you live in the area, I would love to know if you are going to the Rose City yarn crawl. Like, are you going to be going to any yarn stores? For people who are not in the area, the Rose City Yarn Crawl is an annual event where all the yarn stores in Portland like participate in this yarn crawl on the same weekend. And in 2020, the yarn crawl happened, and then the week later, it was when people were like suggested to like stay home, isolate, like the whole pandemic like kind of exploded like the weekend after. So I was able to go to the yarn crawl in 2020, and then 2021, it was like virtual. I mean, the stores were open, you could go, but it was like a virtual side to it too. So I pretty much did like online shopping, and I only went to one store. So I've done a Rose City Yarn Crawl in like a few ways, where I've done like all the stores in one day, all the stores over a weekend. I've also done like where I've only gone to a few stores, and it's fun no matter how you do it. So I'm just curious if you're in the area, if you're doing it in any kind of capacity, and yeah, let me know. And if enough people comment from the area that they are participating, if you're interested, I could open a Ravelry thread so we could talk about like, you know, what times we might be going to certain stores and things like that. So yeah, if you made it this far to answer that question, let me know. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. When I think back on 2021, I started this podcast in the summer, and I could not be more grateful for like taking that risk and like gaining community and friends. Like I couldn't be more grateful for that in 2021. Bye. Okay, it's me again. So after you're done podcasting, just side note, there's some cleanup because you get all the things out and you're showing them and then you're putting them away. And as I was putting things away, I realized I never did my dream knitting segment. So this is why it's important to do show notes. So for dream knitting, I had this all tucked away in my office, and that's why I forgot to show it. Look at all these beautiful things. So if you watch Vlogmas, you'll see I received a gift of a yarn advent from the Bitten Mitten, and like the nicest gift I've ever received. It was just totally unexpected, a massive amount of yarn, and it's bright. Like there's all kinds of things going on, and because of that, I was like really reflecting that I wanted to do something that maybe I don't necessarily have to do all the minis for. Like for example, this one is like a glitter base, and so I think this would be really nice to save for heels and toes for something. So I wouldn't want it in a garment if I make that, like, although I wouldn't mind glitter in a garment. I'm just saying, like, for me, some of these I might want, I don't know, maybe I do want glitter in my garment randomly. I don't know. So I don't necessarily want to use all of them, but I do want to use most of them in a garment. So for my dream knitting, it's this. There is a knit along going on through Breaking Yarn right now called Adventually Makealong, so you should go check it out. And this would be the perfect thing for me to do. But I think I'm going to be working on my rad vent, as I showed you. I need to finish that up. But this could be a rad vent, but then I would need to use all of them. So what I was thinking is two ideas. Idea one is a pattern called the V-back tee, because I think I would not need to use all 24 of these. And so what I could do is there's a lot of pinks in here. So I could pull out all of the pinks or pinky situations. I mean, even the orange, because the orange, like, and I could just like not pre-plan it, but just like go and see what happens. So that's one thought. The other thought I had is that I've been wanting to do like a scrappy love note, like a short sleeve love note that's scrappy. And so I could do these and just hold some mohair with it. And that'd be really cool. And you know, I have 5 love notes, why not have a 6th one? I don't know. I'm leaning towards the V-back tee though, but I don't know when I will cast this on. But I do feel so grateful for this. And I put all my yarn in like bags and tuck it away in my closet. But I just feel so grateful for this, and like that I actually like put it in this cute little basket, and I had it by my computer so I could like look at it. So anyway, thank you so much for this gift, and yeah, it's just totally dream knitting. I have a lot of minis now because I have my Stress Knits one. I have this, and my mom got me the DK set, and I'm still finishing up my granny square kind of vest situation. And I have a bright colored one from Stitch Killer Studios. So I have a lot of minis, and I don't feel overwhelmed by it. I just feel excited about it. So that's a good thing. And I really do enjoy that kind of knitting. So I guess I need to participate in Crazy Sock Lady's Scrappy Sunday every Sunday.